we finish work for the day. Oh, finish work for the day. Right.
Bennett, watch the counter. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Oh, Flint is just out. Oh, my. Oh, Aiden Flint! Aiden Flint! Oh, guys, stop the raid. Stop the raid. Stop the raid. Don't raid him.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Simon, I've been all around.
A bit of BPL, Premier League predictions.
This video was filmed on a potato. Sorry. The video where today we're going to be predicting the scores of week 27 of this, the 2000.
Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the stream. Let's get this podcast to keep on growing. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show, and let's get.
Feeling like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Welcome back to the World Podcast. It's a Monday evening. We're back. Football to talk about. We've got two new guests and one returning one. And we've got a cocky Man United fan and a Liverpool fan wanting to jump off a bridge. So we've got everything you could possibly need for tonight. We're going to start off with the man, the myth, the man, the legend, the guy who owns this channel in Douglas. How you doing, Doug?
I'm not doing too bad. Happy International Women's Day. By the way, we have decided to basically go in pink for the occasion. But I hope everyone's had a very good weekend. I know there is a game going on at the moment. Josh, I know that Chelsea are ahead 1-0 against Everton. But I hope you all enjoy the podcast tonight.
We've got Nathan, who I'm currently doing a Football Manager series with over on his Twitch. I'll be giving a plug at the end. But Nathan, in terms of the World Football Podcast, how are you doing?
Lovely stuff, mate. Thanks for having me on once again. And yeah, if you want to check that series out, head over to my Twitch, head over to my YouTube. And for anyone wondering, BBL will be on next week. So yeah, thanks for having me on as usual.
But below me we have Reece. He's got a nice big video that will be coming up on our Premier League review that he's going to absolutely love. But Reece, I'm sure you're very happy after that win yesterday.
I actually am. That's what you call result earned, result done. City fans, take that.
We've got a new guest to the World Football Podcast and also a Manchester United fan, and Richard from Rich Sports. Richard, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
No, thanks for having me on. I think Doug swayed it by saying we're going to talk about Liverpool to start with, and Manchester United is going to be interesting.
Making his first appearance with the second person from Beyond the 90, and Anthony from the Beyond the 90. He's been a very big regular in the comments. He's now officially on his face. So how you doing, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Cheers for having me on, and I'm hoping Colin doesn't want to kill me too much by the end of it.
And to introduce the man, he got paid a packet of wine gums to be on the podcast because life is depressing enough as it is regarding football. Connor, do you even want to be here?
No. That's the simple answer. Does anyone know where the nearest bit I can, jump off? That's quite stable.
No.
Hallie, good evening to you. Yes, happy International Women's Day again. The Stokes, that's why the pink has been here. We've got Pete. Pete, I'm sure Pete is not going to be very happy with Manchester United. I'm sure we'll be seeing some interesting comments. Shane O'Donnell, good evening. Seamus, good evening. Good evening to you yourself. To you good people. Paul, thank you very much. Jack, Mark, I believe will be joining us next week, Doug.
Jack Mac will be on next week. Yep.
Evening, little penny back to feed from someone's mic. There is a bit of an echo come from someone's mic, but we will eventually sort it. We always sort all problems. And then, hey, Kai, get back to the pitch. He's a beautiful man. Jersey boy saying, Doug, legend. There you go, Doug. You've got a fan.
Jersey boy.
Connor, be positive. I'll jump on. But as we do every single Monday night, we'll start off with the Premier League, and this is probably one of the best Premier League edits I've ever.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty.
There comes a time in a man's life when he's got to admit he's wrong. Today that's Josh's turn.
Hello darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
It's all up here, it just disappears. We definitely didn't lose, buddy. We beat them. We played them off the park. We won 2-0. What happened to Kevin De Bruyne? Get up here.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
So after another entertaining week of the Premier League, we've got plenty to talk about, and I'm sure recent people have plenty of discussion to have, and I'm sure Connor's going to say what to say as last as he possibly can. So
it's alright, Pete started his typical Man City plastic bullshit, so I've already got to him already, and I didn't even have to say a word.
No, Douglas, we're going to start off with you. Arsenal somehow did not be burning a turf more on the early kickoff on Saturday, with X-Chaka deciding he forgot how to kick a ball out of his own box. How did Arsenal not win this? I just don't know.
Well, it's kind of Arsenal's story of the season. Individual mistakes is what's costing them this season, for sure. The other thing I will say is Granit Xhaka. I don't know how many times Arsenal have actually played this guy, but how many mistakes has he made at Arsenal? Like, honestly, that pass to Chris Wood, like it was a very good pass across his own box, but my goodness me, it was a shocking performance from Arsenal. But you're right, they should have won. And this is what's going to cost them going forward, because individual mistakes have really cost them this season.
Nathan, go over to you. Southampton beat Sheffield United 2-0. Honestly, Southampton needed a win. Sheffield United are relegated. But at the same time, this was the most meaningless game you could ever come up with.
Yeah, essentially that. But then again, you could say that Southampton really needed to take something out of this one. But I thought I had some hope for Sheffield United, especially with how badly you could say Southampton have been playing, even with the amount of injuries that they've got, looking at their bench especially. But I mean, Sheffield United, they just there's no confidence there at all. They just feel, all their players, they feel as well. I think Gerrard agrees with it as well, with the way that he's bringing his team out. They just know they're done this season, so they're probably just going to stumble around, and they're going to end up as record-wise, one of the worst Prem sides of all time.
Doug, do you think Chris Wilder will stay on the next season in the Championship, or do you think the club will look to move on?
Yes, I do. I think Chris Wilder will stay on. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to you, Reece. Aston Villa and Wolves, which is meant to be a derby, which is a nilly draw. Wolves are horrible to watch. They probably play one of the worst football in the league. Aston Villa are in terrible form. Snooze fest.
I'll be honest, I can't even remember that game taking place. That's literally how bad. That is literally how bad it was. That's how bad that game was. Like, there was nothing in that game that suggested who was going to win. I don't think either team actually wanted to win. I think it was literally just play the game, get the game over with. Like, there was nothing in that game for me. You could have fallen asleep and nothing exciting would have happened.
Isn't this the same game that Saïs cleared it off his own goal line? Like, after it nearly went in, Saïs from about a yard out hit it over the bar.
Oh yes, that was a shocking miss. Absolute shocking miss, that one.
Anthony, I'll give this
He
game to
definitely
you.
had Martinez in his fantasy.
Anthony, you got a 2-1 win over Brighton. A late goal by Amity to steal all 3 points, which really, really annoys me, because we could have won a point behind you if the result stayed as it is. But obviously, Leicester are struggling a wee bit in terms of form at the moment. You're not happy with the whole 5 in the back from Brendan Rodgers. I know you were very vocal about that on Twitter. But how did you sum up your Brighton game?
I hate using the cliche, but it was a game of two halves. First half, we looked like we were the team that put on the table, sort of scrapping relegation. Second half, we came out and looked completely different. And if there was only really going to be one winner from sort of the amount of pressure that we were putting on. So it was good to see that sort of how well we performed in the second half, but it's also worrying that we went a goal down early on in the game yet again.
Richard, good luck trying to describe West Brom and Newcastle.
That's cool, Josh.
We were talking a few months ago whether Big Sam had taken a team down. I think at least at the end of the season we'll know he definitely has. Newcastle may be joining them. I think is my thought. I think Fulham played Newcastle last game of the season, and I think that could decide who goes down. And I want Fulham to stay up.
I think Fulham are going to smash them.
Offering nothing.
Richard, who plays the worst football between Steve Bruce and Big Sam?
God, jeez.
I think it's close.
Wow, what a question.
I think, I've said before, I think Steve Bruce is the only person that's happy there's no fans. Because I think it's the only thing keeping him there.
Were you going to say something there, Doug?
Yeah, I stupidly woke up for this game. I woke up at 12 o'clock on Sunday, and I stupidly decided to basically, because I've got Amazon Prime on my phone, so the first thing I decided to do, I knew there was a game at 12 o'clock, and I knew it was West Brom Newcastle, so I decided to watch it. That is 94 minutes I'm never going to get back in my life. It was so boring.
Oh,
you stayed awake.
Yeah.
Connor, Spurs hammer a very gutted and depressing Crystal Palace. It's hard to say much about Spurs because they've had quite a few easy amount of games, but do you see Spurs getting in the top four? They're 5 points off Chelsea as things stand.
No, because I think Tottenham will slip up again, like they have done this year. But it's kind of nice to see that Gareth Bale getting back in form. I know that a lot of people have criticised him. Obviously, the big money move back to the Premier League at least, and now he's last couple of games he's looked to get back into form. And I think Sky Sports, they were trying to cause a little bit of anarchy between Son, Bale, and Kane by asking, I think Bale, was it okay if he broke up that partnership? I was like, okay then, but that's just Sky Sports journalists, isn't it? But no, I think Spurs they'll finish Europa League again, but in terms of top four, I don't think they're going to be there this year, in my opinion.
Do you think Josie's getting the best out of his squad? Because if you think Spurs should be higher up, given the debt, even if someone knows firsthand from Football Manager, their squad's insane.
It is.
Yeah, well, they should be doing more, really. It's always second season syndrome, with Jose Mourinho. He always wins something, and the only thing he can win this year, I think, is the Carabao Cup against Man City, whenever that's played. So
next month.
He should be getting more out of the squad, especially earlier on in the season. Heung-min Son and Harry Kane were probably the best two players in the league, and they went on that massive drop off. So I think he should be doing more with this Spurs squad.
What do you think, Reece? Obviously, as I said, currently, as long as Chelsea do win, Spurs are still 5 points behind Chelsea in fourth place. Spurs have quite a few hard games coming up. Do you think Spurs are just benefiting from an easy run, or do you really think that they're going to go on a really good run and maybe push for that top four?
I don't know if they're going to push on a big run, but what I will say is you can't count out Jose Mourinho in his second season. I agree with Connor. He always seems to win something. He could potentially sneak into the top four. It's either going to be at Chelsea or Leicester's expense. It's going to be one of them that's going to drop at the top four. If I had to put my money on it, I might. Don't want to annoy him, but I would honestly say Leicester. I would honestly think Leicester might slip at the top four. No hard feelings. But they've got the Carabao Cup next month. They've also got the Europa League still to play for. They could potentially win this. I don't tip them as the favourites. I think Man United are the outstanding favourites to win it. But Spurs have got a good chance. Mourinho, he likes a European competition, especially this one. He's won it twice before, so there's no reason why he can't. He's got a fantastic front four. The defence are playing for him. He just needs to sort out the goalkeeping position, and perhaps he could do something with them. But at the moment, I don't know. They are favouring from this run of games as well. That's another factor. That's a good point. We'll find out. But I don't think they can get in the top four. I don't think they will. I think they're going to finish fifth.
Doug, the Manchester Derby, obviously Manchester United come 2-0, win 2-0 at the Etihad. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes, early penalty, changed the whole complex of the game. I think City looked like they were panicking. I feel like they were pushing too many people forward, playing into Manchester United's hands. You'd think Pep would know how all he's going to play by now. It shouldn't be rocket science, but were you disappointed how Manchester City approached that game?
Man City were dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. One thing I will say is that strikers are very good at scoring goals. They're not the best at like being tacklers. I mean, Gabriel Jesus, I'm sorry, but it was a definite penalty for me. The fact that he like stepped on Martial's like ankle, it was a clear penalty, and you know that's 32 seconds into the game as well. But De Bruyne had a stinker. Sterling had his usual stinker against Manchester United. I can't recall Raheem Sterling having a good game against Manchester United ever. Even in
25 games.
Even in his Liverpool days, I don't think he had a good game against Manchester United. But that take nothing away from Manchester United. I thought it was a very, very good performance. And Luke Shaw, for me, on current form, you would probably see he's probably the best left back in the Premier League. So he does need to add goals to his game, though. I think that's one thing that you have to say about Luke Shaw. He does need to add goals into his game, but from start to finish, Man United were definitely fantastic in that game, and credit to them. But Pep Guardiola has never beaten Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the Premier League at the Etihad. Enough said.
Going on to that comment, Richard, do you think Pep's pacing up and down right now? I just wondered how the hell does he beat Solskjaer more than he beats him? Because Solskjaer did tactically do Pep once again. And just to say, Chelsea have officially scored. It's 2-0 to the Blues.
There we go, Jorginho.
Kai Havertz winning the penalty.
But Richard, how do you sum up that game where Solskjaer again does Pep Guardiola?
I think, like Doug said, it's no surprise how Manchester United are going to approach the game. Going to look to hit them on the break with pace, and I think Pep Guardiola maybe got the team wrong. I think maybe Foden should have been playing from the start. When he made some substitutions, I think it looked better towards the end. But I think with the early goal, halfway through the first half, even I think Man City were panicking a bit. They're not used to being put under pressure, because you saw a lot of wayward passes, a lot of people looking at each other, and it's quite interesting to see that they're not as amazing as people. Obviously, the record's amazing, but they're not thrashing teams 5-0. They're just consistently winning games sort of by the odd goal. They're a very good team, but I think Manchester United outplayed them on the weekend, and I don't think it was like a smash and grab, which I thought we might get. I think we looked a better team for parts of the game. I think towards the end of the first half, I thought Man City were controlling it a bit, but the second half, I think we were the better team, and City.
I actually remember saying to someone that Manchester United were the only side capable of beating Manchester City's unbeaten run. So it's nice to be proved right. But the thing is, Pep always plays into all his hands. I don't know what it is, but he just cannot seem to beat Ole. And that has to be a credit to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Whenever he's under pressure, he always seems to get a result, and it's always against Manchester City. And funnily enough, the game actually before the COVID-19 actually struck was the Manchester Derby, the same time last year. So to get another 2-0 victory is quite lightning strikes twice, as they say.
Connor, for a guy who absolutely despises Manchester United and Reece with an absolute passion, how did you see this game from the outside in?
It doesn't despise me. I swear to God, do not answer that.
Nah, look, at the end of the day, Manchester United deserved the win. Let's be honest with that. And like the other lads have said, Man City played right into their hands. And Man City have done that plenty of times against an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Manchester United. They did it last year when they lost 2-0 at Old Trafford. They've done it countless times. And it's horrible for me to say, because of course I despise Manchester United, I despise Manchester City. But Man United did deserve the win.
Yes.
Not completely destroyed, like what Reece said in that promo. But it is those types of results you need, though, isn't it? If you're gonna complete top four, if you're gonna just nip a chip into Manchester City's armory, really. And I think that game really showed the rest of the league what you have to do to hurt Manchester City and hurt them good. And if you can execute that game plan perfectly, then it quite clearly sees Man City can lose, even at home.
Two things I want to say just before obviously we move on. Dean Henderson, I thought was very, very good. I think he can actually command a box very, very well. The other thing, I was amazed Kyle Walker didn't start. Because of that experience against City, I was surprised Cancelo started. I thought Walker was a shoo-in to start.
Yeah, I said on a Rich done a stream the other night with City fans, and I put in his live chat and I put in our group chat as well for his streams. I said Cancelo would start over Walker. Like that's the way that they set up. I was honestly expecting Cancelo to start that game, but he was awful in that game, and obviously that played them off the park. That was just to stir up the fans. But I did say on our previous show as well, I did say you can have all the possession if you want. If you don't know what to do with it, you're not going to win a game, and that's why we tore them apart. The penalty was clear as day. Jesus, I think his name makes sense now. He clearly does give miracles. Like he definitely lives up to that part. And Pete said it was a miracle goal by Luke Shaw. I wouldn't say it was a miracle goal. It was a carefully placed finish that Ederson was getting nowhere near. We deserved to win that game. City deserved nothing. Like, they were awful.
Nathan, were you very surprised to see how City, who were 20 games unbeaten, didn't played that game?
21.
Sorry, 21. Thank you for correcting me. 21 games unbeaten, and then they go into Manchester United thinking that they haven't played a game of football for about 6 months. They completely forgot. They completely abandoned what they were doing.
Yeah, I know. Looking at them in the first half as well, they just completely collapsed at the back. I mean, giving away that penalty straight away and then just folding up like a deck chair when Man United went at them. And then, to be fair, they started to improve as the game went on. But either way, I don't think it's acceptable for a team who's just gone 21 games undefeated and up there absolutely steamrolling the Premier League, you could say, at the moment. God knows what's happened there. But it's a tradition, isn't it? Whenever you have the Manchester Derby, it's always the away team that seems to win. It's so easy to predict now.
Before moving on to Liverpool, sorry, Connor, has to happen. Doug, when you look at this performance from Manchester City, okay, even though it's not big in terms of he's going to win the league, because City are going to win it, it was a big game in terms of obviously derbies, bragging rights, and all of that. Does this make you concerned that once again there is a big possibility City will not be able to do it in the Champions League if teams can do what Celtic and Man United did against them?
100%. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things you would have to say. But the thing is, say you're going to win the league. I think can I say this again, King Clutch? Oh. Yeah, thank you, Yeti boy. Yeah, I honestly think. Well, look. Say you're going to win the league. Let's put it that way. But you do worry about the Champions League. Pep is too stubborn in the Champions League. So, will he change his ways? You would hope so. You would hope so. But look, they're going to go through against Mönchengladbach. I don't think Mönchengladbach will come back from that. And then I think it's all about the next round. City Bayern could be a very interesting test, I would say.
And the last comment about the Manchester Club's Reece, I'm going to ask you this. Obviously, you counter-attacked the Evan Hell out of Manchester City. But do you not need to, as a Man United fan, Richard, this will go for ask you now, we'll get you the answer to this after Reece as well. But it's all well good counter-attacking these bigger teams and having a style of play, but do you not think Solskjaer seriously needs to work out a way to beat the teams that who will be trying to counter-attack you? Do you need to try and work on a style of play to put pressure on teams? You can counter-attack, but you need to learn how to do the other side of the game to get much more points. Because if you had that record against the top six, but putting the teams in lower in the league, you could be in the title race all day long.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You look at the way we've played in certain games where last season we dropped points easily. And this year we've been far better in terms of getting points there. But there's some games where we have been shocking that we should have done more. Like even the games against the Big Six, we haven't been particularly good either. But the style of play certainly isn't effective enough. I hate the fact that we're now relying as a counter-attacking team. No, in all fairness, we're not Leicester. That's not how we play football. Like we should be more about controlling games, and obviously I'm using Leicester as the way they won the league. Like that was just pure counter-attack. But that's not how. That's not what I associate with United. I associate United with dominating games, countering when we had to. But we were breaking teams down. We were putting the pressure on. We were breaking them for using the wings, bombing fullbacks. That's what I associate with Man United. But like under Solskjaer, it's literally being associated with just the counter-attack, and when necessary, we do enough. It just depends on how we go. We certainly need to change things up in certain games. If not, we will fall away. And I'm saying this now, if one particular player does get injured, I don't need to say his name, but if one player does get injured, we will fall away quite easily, and that's not something I want to see. But we do need to change some things. Dominating games definitely needs to be done, and we need to convert more chances. In fact, scrap that. We need to make more chances and then convert what we get.
Anything you want to add to that, Richard?
Well, I think, like Reece says, it needs to be more clinical, but also we don't seem to control games. There's a moment of brilliance. Say the Newcastle game, there's one moment of brilliance by Rashford. For the first half an hour, we were pretty poor. And you can't just rely on one player just to create something out of nothing. We're not controlling the game. We're not putting the team under pressure for sort of 30, 40 minutes. We're just taking, obviously we've got some very good forward players and they take a chance, but you can't just do that every single game and hope that they're going to create something themselves. And I think you miss a player like Pogba. If you get another central midfielder injured, which Reece was talking about, suddenly you've lost all your creativity in the middle. And I think the squad depth needs to improve as well, because we're looking at playing almost the same team week in, week out. And if we rotate players, we see a weakness. They're just not as good.
Yeah.
Conor, to answer Pete's question there, so obviously to Doug's point about Pep Guardiola in the Champions League, what does Pep need to change in the Champions League, even though he did win 21 games straight?
In Champions League, I think he just needs to not overlook the current opponent. He's done that the last 3 years and got knocked out at the exact same stage the last 3 years.
I think when you look at Man City, the 3 times they've been beaten comfortably.
Yeah, well, that is a good point, because obviously they play, what was it, Lyon they got knocked out by, who were mid-table in the French league, and Lyon made them look, made City look horrible, and Pep got, I think Pep played a back three that day, and he got things all wrong. But
he matched them system for system. He matched it because of Denier in that back three. That's literally why he played the back three, is because of Denier at centre back. Denier's so comfortable in the back three that he thought he could match him. But I think Conor made a good point about how he overlooks opposition in that game. You look at the players he didn't play. He automatically assumed Man City were going through the next round. They were like, "Oh, this is Lyon. It's not a challenge. We're going through." Really, what happened on the night? Like that's his biggest problem. He completely overlooks some of his changes. Makes no sense. If he wants to win these games, play your strongest team. Play your strongest team if you want to go through. Don't be an asshat.
My final point is, Doug, do you think there's an issue with strikers at City? Aguero's obviously had massive injury problems all year. He might be leaving at the end of the season. Jesus, he's not anything great, is he? He's nothing. Probably he's no better than Divock Origi. So, what would you make of City? Because they've looked better with a false nine than what they have with an actual striker.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there is a striker problem with City, and I think you look at it. I think Aguero was going to. Sorry if you can hear Freddie outside. But what I will say, I think City do have a striker problem, because Gabriel Jesus, as much as he is good, stats wise, he is very, very good. But I'm not convinced he can replace Aguero. So I wonder if they're going to, look at a potential like a Haaland or someone of that. Yeah, well, no, I don't think they would go for Mbappe, to be honest with you.
I think he's the one.
Yeah, I think it is Holland. I think it is going to be potentially Holland.
I think Mbappe. I think Mbappe's the one for City, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Haaland is fantastic as a striker, but I think if you look at the way Pep Guardiola plays football and the way he wants his forwards to rotate an attacking position, it sort of makes sense to go for Mbappe over Haaland. But the only difference is the sheer amount of money that PSG will demand. So either or would be terrifying for this league.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I think just to go back to your point, they can't rely on Liam Delap because he's only 19. But Josh is right in the fact that they do look a better team playing a false 9.
Phil Foden did that role very well. So it's time to move on to the final club. So we're obviously not going to talk about Liverpool. I think which obviously sums it up very well, besides the fact Jurgen Klopp is smiling. So I'll start off with you, Connor. Obviously, 6 losses on the bounce at Anfield. You've won only 2 games recently, obviously against Sheffield United and Leipzig. And obviously Leipzig actually played quite well, in fairness. How do you? Is it down to injuries? Is it down to tactics, or is it down to this just being an absolutely awful season?
All of the above. No, look, it's this is everyone's happy hour seeing Liverpool, fall from grace, really. But look, at the end of the day, yes, you can blame it on injuries. Yes, you can blame it on, VAR, other crap like this. As a Liverpool fan, I'm sick and tired of talking about injuries, because there is so many of them. For me, the biggest thing that's been really much the angry point for us has been how Klopp hasn't adapted the system at all. He's kept the system, as it is, 4-3-3. And keeping with the same high line that we've been playing with for the last 3 years. Now, yes, you can play that system with Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. You can't play that system while you're playing, Fabinho centre-back, Kabak centre-back. You can't. You need to adapt with the system. And that, for me, has been the biggest pain over the last couple of weeks, is that there's no sign of us adapting at all. I personally would like us to go 4-2-3-1. We've always done that where we've been in a little bit of a crisis throughout the last 3 years. And we haven't even, gone into that yet this season. So it is a frustrating time, a very frustrating time at Liverpool. Yes, I would absolutely love to blame it on injuries and just say, it's all injuries' fault. But look, at the end of the day, the teams that have beat us have deserved to beat us because we've been that bad. I don't think any Liverpool fan will hide behind the fact that, we should have won that game, we should have done that. No, we shouldn't have. And that's the simplicity of it. We can't hide behind it.
Just to touch up on that as well, because you've had 22 separate centre-back partnerships this season as well, which is ridiculous as well. But in all fairness, right, this is a genuine question because it seems to be flying around Twitter right now, and I think it's absolutely funny. Do you reckon Klopp could get sacked?
No. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've seen this myself on Twitter, and I'm just laughing at all the plastic Liverpool fans that Klopp out, get someone new in, and that, and I'm like, you do remember, this guy has taken us to countless European finals, won us the Champions League, won us the Premier League, made signings that I don't think any of us would have thought of, like Andy Robertson and a couple of others, and he turned us from being a team that looked like we didn't have an identity back into the Liverpool winning a championship. That was the crucial thing for Liverpool under Klopp, and I think he'll get there again. Yes, this season is what it is, and yes, it would be mad if Liverpool won won the Champions League, because that is how mad Liverpool are. Really, I'm not saying we are going to win the Champions League, but it would be quite ironic if we would to go on and win it.
Doug, regarding Klopp out, this is what you think about it, isn't it? That's what you think about Kop, don't you?
100%, yeah. What I will say is that Fulham thoroughly deserved to win yesterday, so congratulations to them. It's given them a fighting chance of staying up. And you look at the teams in and around them, and they are the team in form right now. For me, I think Sheffield United and West Brom are gone. For me, it's all about the look. I think the one thing I will say is that the fact is Liverpool have been fantastic the last 2 to 3 years. There was always going to be a season where we were going to suffer from burnout, and I think this is what's happening. I think the players are definitely suffering from burnout. And to answer people's question, are we going to sack Klopp? No, I honestly don't see it. And funnily enough, like, people have short memories. This is a guy who, in his first season, took us to a Europa League final. He took us to a Carling Cup final. Yes, we may have lost both of them, but in that season, he had done more than the previous manager had done, Brendan Rodgers. So the fact that people are actually asking for his head is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, look, the amount of injuries. Yeah, look, Leicester have had more injuries. That's not an excuse. That is not an excuse. Leicester have had more injuries. They're the only team to have been in the top 4 all season, and they have had countless and countless and countless of injuries. I honestly don't know what's happened this season. It's been look, we've been breaking records for the wrong reasons. That's now 6 defeats at Anfield in a row. I think that's never been done before. That was Klopp's first defeat at Anfield against a promoted club as well. But the ones who are calling for Klopp's head, give me a break and just seriously do something with your brains, because it is just ridiculous.
You can see why the likes of us would ask, because obviously it's for a podcast. We need to ask that question. But obviously there are people that are going to say it and then they're like, oh, they want Klopp out. But I'm like, you've also got issues with your owners, as far as I'm aware. Like, there are people who have serious issues with FSG. They want them to put nicely, piss off. But Klopp can show what he needs to do. Like, he never had the chance to turn things around at Dortmund, and obviously he got relegated with Mainz. Like, that's a known fact as well. Like, they got relegated due to circumstances, and obviously he didn't get a chance to turn around Dortmund. Instead, he walked away at the end of the season. He got them the Europa League qualification.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get top 4, but realistically, is there something that, like,
can I just
for the Champions League? What do you go for?
Can I just say now, top 4 is effectively over. I can't see us getting top 4. The last thing I want is Europa League, or that blooming Europa Conference League, or whatever the hell it is called. Whatever the hell it's called, because I can tell you something, I do not want to be playing teams like Karabag FC, Ludogorets Razgrad, and bloomin' like. I mean, look, this might sound funny, but you might see like a Hibernian go in there. You might see an Aberdeen go in there. You know, no. Look, I think, joking aside, I think if we were to finish top 6, top 8, I think, look, Connor's right. The fact that we could actually win the Champions League is still bonkers to be in the extreme, but it's a Liverpool thing that they would do. I don't think we're good enough to win in the Champions League.
What would constitute Klopp getting sacked then? Obviously, like, I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but what would constitute towards him getting sacked? Would it be definitely falling below where they already are and getting knocked out in the Champions League, say by Leipzig in this coming round?
Probably it would be. I don't think he's going to get sacked. This year, and I think if FSG invest in Klopp and give him, let's say, 200 million to do whatever the hell he wanted, and then we were still having this conversation a year from now, then yes, then I would say maybe it's time then to look at something different. But at the end of the day, the thing for me is that we simply, like, the game against Fulham was our strongest bench this season.
100%. 100%. 100%.
Go on.
No, you go.
Well, no, it's like Divock Origi for me needs to go. Gini Wijnaldum, I think, will go. Even though I do love Gini, and it's just getting rid of the dead weight and then bringing in fresh faces with, a hunger to play for Liverpool and a hunger to achieve, things in Europe and to win another Premier League and just new, fresh, hungry faces. And I think that is what we're missing a little bit. Is yes, we can miss the fans, and I think, to be honest with you, I think that's been Liverpool's biggest problem this season, is having the fans in and then having them removed, as they did. That's not helped at all, but that's obviously the same for everyone else. But it is just now getting just a refresh for the Liverpool squad, and then going again next season, and then looking from that, of course, with Virgil coming back as well. We'll hopefully have everyone back that's been injured this season back for next year.
We have we have a lot of points from the chat, so Doug, you go ahead and explain it there while I find a column.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I think we don't. The recent defeats, we don't really have leaders in the team, and we're really missing Jordan Henderson. The sooner he's back, I think our form would probably, well, I wouldn't say to making up for people, but I do believe that our next 3 games, I think, are away from home. I could be wrong there. I think the next home game, I think, is against Aston Villa, and look, Aston Villa, like, that could be 7 home defeats in a row, so. We're just gonna have to be patient. But the thing is, I think we're just gonna have to see this season through with the players. Well, obviously we're gonna have to see the season through with these players. But I do agree with Connor. I think there is a lot of deadwood at the club, and I do think that we will have to sell before we buy. But that's FSG's policy.
We have a lot of questions from the chat regarding this. So we'll go through it. We'll go through them. First of all, can't we skip the Liverpool game?
No.
Connor, this is an interesting point for Seamus. You play a 4-3-3, and when that doesn't work, it's self-destruct mode. What do you think?
It is, really. Well, it is a little bit with, the way we're playing at the minute. And let's be honest, freaking, I don't even know which centre-back pairings are going to be playing with each other, on that day. That's how bad it is. Like, 1 week it's Fabinho and Kabak, then it's Phillips and Williams. It's like, just put whoever you want. Put bloody Milner and freaking Robertson for next week. Like, I think that's how it's going to be. But yeah, it is self-destructive.
Doug, you're very much into the news outlets. You're very much up to date with all things Liverpool. So this is a very interesting question from Pete. So there's articles going around at the moment that Salah isn't happy at the club and there might be a relationship issue with Klopp. Do you know much if this is true or if this is rumours, or do you not have an absolute notion?
Well, I can safely say this now. That is absolute bullshit. I do not swear many times, but I am sorry. That article about Salah having an issue with Klopp is an absolute disgrace, and it just kind of shows what the English media is like right now. The reason this is all stemmed, it was a Salah substitution against Chelsea. Now everyone was like, "Oh, Salah's getting, like, our best player is getting subbed." Then it got Salah's agent to do like that eyes emoji. This is what it has stemmed from. It is his agent doing that. So, no, I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with a rift. There's nothing wrong with a rift between Klopp and Salah. What an absolute load of bullshit.
Okay, fair enough. And moving on to Yeti Boy, Connor, do you think this is true? Do you think that Liverpool will wait for Gerrard to be ready for Liverpool, or do you think that's still a few years away?
Too soon? Too soon.
He's going to be in his very first season of managing the Champions League next season, because he's going to get Rangers to the Champions League anyway. Like, they're going to qualify, and he'll have a good chance of going through there and bring some quality European opposition back to Ibrox. So, no.
That's the thing, isn't it? And look, at the end of the day, I've said this for the biggest time ever when everyone's like comparing, Klopp going and things like this. For me, the next Liverpool manager, whenever it is, will be Pep Lijnders. And it will be Pep Lijnders, because Klopp has designed Liverpool like Bob Paisley and Bill Shankly, handing down the role, and that is who's going to be the next manager. Whether or not Stevie G has another role somewhere else, whether or not he does fantastic job at Rangers and then has another managerial job, maybe a lower team in the Premier League, maybe somewhere in the Championship, maybe something like that. But at this present moment in time, it is way too soon for Stevie G to take over at Liverpool.
Yeah, it is way too soon. Way too soon. And the one thing I will
say, manage Crystal Palace.
Doug, there's something I want to ask you just before you answer to your point. If he did come, do you think it would be a very similar situation to what Frank Lampard had?
Yes. 100%. There are fans in our fan base, and every fan base has them, where they play FIFA. Right? You play FIFA. You're given like a 500 million like transfer budget. Buy player after player. Like, okay, Mbappe, Holland, Messi, Ronaldo. Football doesn't work like that, right? This is what some of our fans will be like if Stevie G fails at Liverpool. Right, I'm going to say this now. Steven Gerrard will not go to Liverpool yet. It's way too soon. I have heard from a report in Germany that Borussia Mönchengladbach are actually lining up Steven Gerrard to replace Marco Rose.
Wow, that's bold.
So... To your point, Doug, about FIFA, try playing Football Manager. I had to sign Nathan Redmond.
To be fair, Josh, FIFA is a lot more trickier to play than Football Manager. So what I will say for that is that I have heard Steven Gerrard has been lined up by Borussia Mönchengladbach. He has also been lined up by potentially Crystal Palace as well. And I wouldn't be too surprised if this happened. If Steve Bruce does eventually get sacked by the Geordie faithful, I can see Newcastle going for Gerrard.
Caller, the last point about Liverpool, and this depressing talk's all over for you. So I've got two questions. One, were you very surprised by the lineup that was picked against Fulham with a very young, inexperienced backline? And two, how are you feeling about the second leg against Leipzig?
No, I wasn't surprised, because I think Klopp has fully gone into the Champions League basket, like we've spoken about. I think that's our only option if we want to play Champions League football for next year. But yeah, look, it's of course Alisson's there like he normally is. Yes, there is youngsters there, but they're experienced youngsters now within this squad. Reece Williams, Neco Williams, Nat Phillips. They're there realistically, aren't they? And
he's coming.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because I don't think many of us with Liverpool, the Champions League now, I think, is the big picture. Now I think Doug can agree on that. That is now the goal.
Yeah.
Well, I would love Man City and Bayern to get drawn with one another, because that then knocks out one of the favourites. If we can get lucky in the draw, then I take that 100% at the minute, because I don't want to take that. But am I confident against Leipzig? Yes, I am. Look, we've got two away goals. And I think we'll use that. I think it might be a 1-1 or a 1-0 to us, but hopefully, anyway, it isn't diabolical. And we're here next week talking about Liverpool getting knocked out 3-0.
Richard, so as a Manchester United fan, what's you're going to get the last words on Liverpool, so make them interesting.
I would say normally I don't watch Liverpool, but recently I have watched more games, particularly towards the end of games, and just to see what's going on, because last season it wasn't great watching from a Manchester United fan. As like Connor, fair play, you were very good last year. But this year, watching games, it looks like we criticised Manchester United of like trying no invention, try the same thing over and over and over again, and the opposition look like they're just waiting for their chance. And when they take it, then you don't see Liverpool creating a chance or scoring. Now, the Southampton game, I was watching that, wondering Liverpool had no energy and it seemed to have no sort of plan B. And I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but it just looked like they were just way off the pace. I don't know what. The high tempo has just kind of worn them down after a year, 2 years playing that.
Richard, will you enjoy seeing Liverpool in the European Conference League next year?
I don't know. How low can they finish and still like seventh? I don't know.
Man.
They're going to like beat Arsenal on the way up at this rate, aren't they?
Nathan, I feel bad for not being able to ask you any questions about this.
That's fine, don't worry.
So because you missed Friday night's episode, do you want to tell us about the snooze special you had against Huddersfield?
Oh boy, where do I start? Where do I start with that one? Yeah, terrible football to watch. Huddersfield playing around from the back, really. I can only think of 2 chances in the whole game. One of them was a penalty, and the other was just a ball over the bar from Huddersfield. Cardiff had a few things to offer, but we just kept on losing the ball. But either way, just got to put that behind us now. Loads of injuries there. We're starting to rack up an injury list a little bit. And to be fair, we had 3 games in 6 days. The players looked absolutely dead in that one. So we just can't help about that. But either way, go and have a big match with this weekend in Watford. Then after that, Stoke. And then as the biggest team in Wales, we have got to beat Swansea or get at least a point in the derby. I am not taking another loss in this one. If it is, then you have just failed the entire country of Wales. I will get onto that next week.
I just need a question from Chanel. Doug, do you want to answer quickly before we move on?
When would it be? I think probably 2024, 2025, I would say.
Okay. So so one thing that did happen over the weekend was we, in terms of all the leagues that we kind of follow, we have our first set champions of the league, and we have just spoken about Steven Gerrard. So I guess Rangers, it's time to talk about Rangers and Celtic.
Oh yeah.
He's fucking dynamite! Steve Gerrard! Steve Gerrard! Come on and all the rest of me! Oh, it's a blue, blue, blue sea of eyebrows. Oh, it's the greatest sight that I have ever seen!
So, first of all, I do want to say, which I think is an important message, that we do not condemn the Rangers fans breaking COVID rules and approaching Ibrox, because as much as obviously winning the league is very, very a big achievement, lives will probably be lost because of that. So I think everyone would agree that if there is any gatherings of Rangers are going around your area, we would obviously definitely advise please do not attend them. Because obviously, see what happened with Liverpool, see what happened with Celtic protests and all, but none of it means it's right, and I think that's an important thing just to mention. But Reece, 10 years on the go. Neil Lennon resigned. He resigned just because the Rangers were going to win the league. There's still so much for Rangers to play for. It's only just the start of an amazing journey that could be.
Oh yeah, this is a start, mate, and it's just simple. That's the only acceptable badge in Scotland.
Hey.
Except the Scotland badge. So where did I start? Celtic imploded. I predicted that a year ago. Oh, yes. Celtic have got a lot of issues at the moment, and it's absolutely fantastic. Their CEO is resigning into the season, and honestly, it's their own fault. Like the spending, like players, like quality wise, has been absolutely shocking. They've not got any adequate players to replace anyone that gets injured, whereas Rangers, in terms of like Gerrard, the director of football, like previously Mark Allen, it's now been changed over. Like they understand who they're looking for. They're spending properly. They're actually preparing to win trophies, not just for this season, but for the years to come. Frankly, Rangers can now go on and win 10 in a row. Like, they could. I actually think Rangers could, if they keep things going the way they are. The squad's young, it's mixed with experience. Keep hold of the young players. Also, as well as, like, you see them how they're approaching games in Europe. They're approaching each game the same way as they approach a league game. It's respectful. It's all about going out there to win. There's no second-guessing opponents. Yes, Antwerp was a very interesting tie. The scoreline, even on aggregate, that was absolutely brilliant. I'll have to admit, like that was a very entertaining two-legged affair. But it just shows that you're going to get an attacking display out of them. And the fact that they've not lost a game at home all season in the league. They've only conceded 2 goals at Ibrox all season in the league. It just shows as well like how confident they are at the back. Celtic.
No, Reece is froze. Nope.
Oh no.
Yep, so I had a little connection there, boys. Switch to my data, so that should be easier. So what I said there is, so the 2 goals conceded at Ibrox, but they've responded in terms of controlling games. Celtic's issues has definitely been money. There's no lack of leadership as well. They're not a bad. Like I'm going to go on record. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad team because you can't win 9. No, they haven't. They've not lost a single game at all. They've only lost in like the cup game and then the one Europa League game, and we won the group. Celtic aren't a bad team. I'm going to go on record on that. They're not a bad team. It's just poorly ran leadership. This season's been bad for them. I didn't think it would be a 20-point gap or close to 20-point gap to win the title, but I did predict Rangers would win the league. But the way the seasons went, I don't see Celtic making that back up for quite a while unless they have to do a full reset on that squad. They've got like 8 or 9 players they must get rid of. But it depends on how they progress going forward. But as far as I'm concerned, it's title number 55. We deserved it, and now we move on. And we're definitely going unbeaten.
To ask you, there's 3. I went on today to do my research for the podcast, and there's 3 managers linked with Celtic. Okay, the first 2 are going to make your eyes bulge and just question life more than you probably already are. And then the third one's a bit reasonable. The first one is David Moyes.
He's not going anywhere.
The second one is Kenny Dornish, your Liverpool legend. And then the third one is Eddie Howe. So he's getting the Celtic job.
Right, it ain't going to be those 3 then. I tell you the truth, I don't know. But what I will say, congratulations Rangers, congratulations Steven Gerrard. Rangers have been the best team this season. They've only conceded 9 goals in 32 games this season. I think that is absolutely astonishing. When you consider the seasons that they had under was it Graham Murty, where they were like losing like 5-1 at home and 5-0 away. Gerrard has come in. He has got his players across. Like the fact is, I think Rangers have benefited from the fact that Celtic have just completely imploded. Like you look at the facts, and like Celtic have just been so poor this season. But what you can say is that Rangers had a plan. Rangers got the players that they were. Rangers got the players that they wanted. Celtic have so much deadwood, it's unbelievable. They need to get rid of that deadwood. But the problem is, they're not going to get rid of it unless they, get them off the wage bills. But the other thing I will say, it looks like Odsonne Edouard is leaving Celtic. Looks like he could be going to Leicester City. So that's someone who has been wanting to leave Celtic for absolutely ages. And you just have to give credit to Rangers. The fact is that I think the only teams that they've failed to take points from are ourselves, Hibernian, and Hamilton. That kind of just says how much Rangers have been the best team this season. And look, Gerrard said at the end of the game on Saturday that he feels hungry. He feels like he wants to win more things with Rangers. I tell you something now. Nobody will want to play them in the Europa League because Gerrard's defence, his record in Europe is absolutely astonishing as well. So, to answer your question, who's going to be the Celtic manager? It's anybody's guess, to be honest, because nope. I don't see Frank Lampard going to Celtic. No, I honestly don't. I think the Celtic job right now is a poison chalice, and I think everyone would want to stay away from that job right now because for me, Rangers will probably go on and win 2, 3, 4, maybe five more titles. It's just all about obviously it'd be interesting to see when the fans come back what they might do. But what I will say is that Celtic have really, really hit the self-destruct button this season. They've had a poor season in Europe. They've had a really, really poor season domestically as well. Will they win the Scottish Cup? I mean, that remains to be seen when that is going to be taking place because there's still loads of yes, Neil, there is talk that I think £15 million. I think Arsenal were quoted on that. I think for 30 million in the summer. So kind of just says that. But yeah, Chanel's put up a very good point there. Rangers can get 106 points, which would equal the Invincibles of Celtic. So, but you look at Celtic's defence that season. Rangers are on course to smash that. But congratulations to Rangers. They've been absolutely fantastic all season, and much of the credit has to go to Steven Gerrard. And I think one of the main things that you can say from Rangers team is they've got winners. Celtic's squad right now looks like they're a squad of individuals wanted to play with each other. So I think that's what separates Rangers and Celtic. But yeah, absolutely, congratulations to them. Thoroughly the best team this season.
Richard, I don't know how much you follow Scottish football or not, but regarding Rangers and the Europa League, how far do you think they can go?
So when the draw was made, I actually wanted us to play Rangers just to see how good they were, how well we'd get on against them, and I didn't want to. Some people wanted to pick maybe the weakest team. I was hoping we'd get Rangers or AC Milan, so I wanted the game to be at least interesting. I don't know, actually. It's going to be interesting to see how they can go. I think they'll probably get through the next round. It's a team that knocked out Leicester, isn't it?
Slavia Prague.
Slavia Prague, yeah.
Hopefully we'll get past AC Milan. I think they've got a good chance. I haven't watched them as much as Reece, but the way they've played this season, like you said, defensively amazing, winning the league ridiculously easy. Were they 20 points clear, or over 20 points clear? They've got a good chance of making the latter stage of that competition. Hopefully we'll play them at some point, maybe in the final. I think they've got a good chance. Obviously, they don't need to focus on the league domestically. That's wrapped up. So a team you don't want to play, really, I suppose.
Nathan, One thing I think Reece will agree with me. I think from January onwards last season, the Rangers' defence was a shambles and a half. The defensive structure was, for Gerrard, he isn't an experienced manager. I think he deserves extremely real credit for how he's been able to get a really good structure in the team. I think he's got a really, really good assistant manager. I don't know his name, but his assistant manager,
Gary McAllister,
helped out a lot. Yeah.
He seems to be one of the best in the game. He's probably helped Gerrard a lot for his learning ways. So if Gerrard deserves a lot of credit from building the team where he took them over to where they are now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a slow build for him, you could say, slowly getting there. And he's when Celtic, and we all could tell that they were just going to collapse ever since that Brendan Rodgers left the club. We knew that Gerrard was going to be like, right, we have got to take advantage here. And when that happens, we're going to go full focus. And to be honest, Celtic, they've got a massive rebuild job on now. I can see this going on for a few years. No matter which was in place for them, they have a huge job, probably one of the biggest in the UK, I imagine. Bigger than some of the jobs in the Premier League. But go on.
Connor, do you fancy getting your sit out and going and managing Celtic? Giving it a go?
I think I'll leave that for Football Manager. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, like everyone has said, the Celtic job is probably one of, if not the hardest jobs to take over in Europe, let alone just the UK. But it's been the writing on the wall, hasn't it? Over the last couple of seasons. Obviously, the rebuild by Stevie G, and just the downfall, really. Of course, Brendan Rodgers leaving to go to Leicester. I know Anthony would be loving that, of course. But it's the thing. Hey! If Celtic want to get in contact, they can. Let's go. But no, look, to be honest with you, one of my dream people to get the Celtic job would be Rafa Benitez. And I would love Rafa and Stevie G just to go at it. I'd love to see it. Apart from that, I don't care who else gets the job, but yeah, I'd love Rafa to get the job. It's either me or Rafa,
A very key question, Connor. Would you bring Doug as your number 2 if you were at Celtic?
Oh. Yeah, I would. I think if Doug makes any mad decisions, nope, off, bye,
just expect him to tank the game against Livingston because he wants to make history. Reece, to ask you, obviously, as I said in that intro there, obviously there's still the Scottish Cup, which is going to be played. That is confirmed from the Scottish Football Association. Obviously, still go to Europa League with go to Europa League there, obviously against the Fakia Prague coming up this Thursday night, if I'm right. So there's so much for Rangers to play for, so much history to be made. A quadruple. No, not going to come in the country. They're on the League Cup. Sarah Travel could still be on if they somehow win Europa League. I take it you're just happy you won the league, and everything else is just a wee cherry on top.
Pretty much. I mean, I've waited a decade for the league title. I've been a Rangers fan since 2000. So it's I've literally been a Rangers fan since a wee lad. So I know this club inside out. So it'd be great to win the domestic cup as well, the Scottish Cup. That'd be a great icing on the cake. I don't see Rangers getting past the quarterfinals of the Europa League though. I think Rangers will get to the quarterfinals. But even so, that's further than what Celtic have done in the past decade for European football. So as far as I'm concerned, that'll do nicely. I would honestly be all right with that. If we got a double, I would be happy with that. I wouldn't mind a double.
Sorry, I'm just in a comment just to make me laugh.
Oh yeah. Oh. That would be hilarious.
I think would be any option.
Connor, do you have much pace in your legs to deal with a high line?
Well, I'm normally a midfielder, so I'm going to be Jordan Henderson again playing centre back.
Richard, I've got a question. I've got a good question for you. Do you fancy taking the Celtic job?
I imagine the pay is quite good, so.
Even if you get sacked, you get a good payday anyway.
You can get a payoff, aren't you, for short term? Yeah, probably. I won't turn down the money, but I think it's going to be a very short term job, isn't it? Whoever takes over, because I think Rangers are going to thrash them for a few years. I think it's going to be like taking over from Alex Ferguson, isn't it? They're going to have no chance for a few years, and it depends how patient the fans are, which I guess is not very.
There is while we're on the Scottish topic, as we do have some time, there is a couple of things I do want to ask. So first of all, I want to ask you, Doug, a very interesting question about Aberdeen. As someone who obviously does Scottish Premierships, I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. That's because, me and you don't agree on a lot of things sometimes. We agree on a lot of things. But one, I personally feel like Derek McInnes is a shit manager, to put it straight. I think his style. I think his style of play is terrible. He's underachieved with Aberdeen. Again, I could maybe just be being wrong. Aberdeen fans aren't happy with him. They do want him gone. What do you think about him?
Well, Darren McInnes, to be fair, Aberdeen, I think, have failed to score in their last, I think it's 8 out of their last 12 games, I think. It's a really bad run that they're on anyway. But, I think Darren McInnes is a man under pressure. I think Aberdeen fans have been wanting him out for ages, to be honest with you. I know Chanel, she's an Aberdeen fan. I think I'm right in saying, Reece, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, yep.
Yeah, 0-0 against Hamilton is like they have really gone off a cliff. Aberdeen, I would say. The fact is that I think looking at it, Hibs are going to consolidate. Are you steaming McInnes a bad manager? Well, to be honest with you, Andrew, I think. Look, McInnes has done well at Aberdeen, put it that way. But there is a time and a place, and unfortunately, I think he has taken the club as far as he can. But who goes in Aberdeen next is anybody's guess right now. But what I will say is that Hibernian are going to finish third. I think Aberdeen are going to finish fourth. I think Livingston are going to finish fifth, and I think St Mirren are going to finish sixth.
I think Aberdeen have also failed McInnes as well. I think they failed McInnes. Like in terms of like quality players they had, like they actually had some very good players, and they were under, like in terms of value, they were sold for like way below their value, and they've not been able to adequately replace them. Also, there's not enough money in the Scottish League to actually give them a chance to rebuild, and that's a fact. So I think McInnes is definitely a good manager. I don't think he's a bad manager at all. I think his style of play has certainly kept Aberdeen in the top 3 consecutively for so long that he's definitely not a bad manager. I think people that think he's a shit manager is actually a little bit nuts. What I will say, he could have had the Rangers job before Gerrard came in. Like he was considered, but we decided not. We decided not to go for him. He could have had the Celtic job as well. He is considered for the top jobs because of his longevity in the Scottish League. He has won trophies up here as well. He's not won the league. That's not going to happen. But he has won the likes of the Scottish Cup, and he's won the League Cup. So he has got that sort of pedigree. He's just not been able to just replace those quality players he's had with quality in response. So he's not been able to do it. And could he do something at a different club? Perhaps. I'd like to see him try maybe in the English Championship. I think he can take a club in the Championship to the Premier League. I think he's good.
The only thing I will say, and I think Nathan will back me up on this one, he didn't have a particularly good spell at Bristol City, did he?
Oh no, he went straight away. I think he played 15 games, if that. Lost most of them, and then he was out the door. And I believe that was in 2013-14. It was quite early on, and they absolutely despised him there.
Yeah, he's been at Aberdeen ever since then, and fair play to him for lasting that long as well.
Yeah, Reece, good loyalty with that.
Reece, moving on. This is a very. Did we ever expect at the start of the Scottish League season to say that Kilmarnock could be getting relegated?
I was doubtful of Kilmarnock at the start of the season because, I mean, like, the way they finished under Steve Clarke was very impressive. I think letting him go was a massive mistake. Letting him go to take over Scotland. Obviously, he's got Scotland to the Euros, so fantastic, but they've faded completely. They're now in the position where they're going to either be automatically relegated if their slump does not continue. They will end up bottom of the league. But I think they will stay up via the playoffs. I think they might just edge it due to experience in their squad for the top flight. But if they continue to play the way they're going, they could easily get relegated in the playoffs. They could. Don't know who's going to do it. But I'm eager to see. What I will say is the biggest loss was definitely Steve Clarke. That was definitely the biggest loss. Doesn't matter who they sold in terms of players, etc. Clarke definitely is the biggest loss for what he achieved with them, especially.
I do have a question for Doug and Reece. Do you guys at all recognise this guy here who's going to be on our screens? Do you recognise him?
Yep, Oran Kearney.
Oran Kearney, Oran Kearney joined from Coleraine here in Northern Ireland. After he left St Mirren, he's went back to Coleraine, and Kearney's sitting second in the Northern Irish Premiership League, which moves on to my next point. Obviously, Jim Gerrard has got St Mirren sitting sixth. That's incredible. Yep. That is actually incredible for the resources St Mirren have. I think that's just incredible.
To be fair, and I'm gonna. I think Reece will agree with me on this one, but St Mirren have been very, very good this season. They've actually taken advantage of, like, Motherwell have just fallen off a cliff completely. Fantastic. Really, really bad. I mean, St Mirren have been very, very good this season, and you look like they made the semi-finals of the Scottish League Cup, beaten by Livingston. But like the thing is now that you look at Dundee United, you look at St Johnstone. Like, St Johnstone, I think, needs a win and hope St Mirren kind of drop out a little bit. But they've been fantastic. I don't see Oran Kearney going back to the Scottish Premiership because there was a reason why he didn't do well at St Mirren. I think it was a travelling. I think it was a travelling from Northern Ireland to Paisley.
His wife and kids still lives in Northern Ireland, so he was travelling back in between training sessions to see his kids.
Yeah. So I think he's like I've got someone in my church who is a big Coleraine fan, and they were surprised he went back. But do you know what? I think St Mirren deserve a lot of credit for what they've done this season, and yeah, they're very, very close to a top 6 finish.
To be fair, Oran Kearney saved St Mirren from relegation. He came in and got them out of the relegation, so he's the reason why he kept them up. And also, just say about Oran Kearney, when he left Coleraine to go to St Mirren, Coleraine were finished second in the league, 4 points off the top of the league. When he left Coleraine, Rodney McInnes took over Coleraine. Coleraine finished 10th in the league out of 12 teams in the Premiership. They dropped that far, and now he went back. Yeah. Back in the second, so he is a good manager. I'll defend the guy. Conor, again, I don't know how much you do follow Scottish football outside the old firm people, but I'm just going to say, have you ever heard of Hamilton? Have you ever heard of Hamilton and Madrid? Ever heard of them?
Yes, I have heard of them. Like my Scottish League knowledge is okay, but not to the extreme of Doug and Reece.
Well, if you've heard of Hamilton, and Madrid, how long have they stayed in the league as long as they have? I don't know. Can they go down already?
It's like they're like Burnley, though, aren't they? You know, they're just they.
Scottish Burnley.
Well, that's Hamilton. He summed Hamilton up in a nutshell.
To be fair, all you need to do is just rip them out of the league, put them in a pit of acid to see again, and then bring back someone like Dundee, or I think Hearts are in the Championship, right?
Yeah.
Dundee, Hearts, or Dunfermline. I wouldn't mind either. Over Hamilton any day.
Here, to finish the Scottish talk, I'm going to ask you all the same question, but it's all going to be in a different way. Doug, in Scotland, if you could manage a club between Dundee United, Ross County, or Hamilton, who are you managing?
Oh, Christ almighty. Dundee United.
Dundee. Actually,
Mhm.
I thought you might say Ross County.
Why?
Don't
Like,
insult his
I've-
intelligence.
Like I've got I've got family who are Cali Thistle fans, so I would upset them if they were asking me to if they asked me to manage Ross County. No, definitely Dundee United.
Nathan, are you going to Rangers or Celtic?
Oh my!
Oh,
I'm gonna go in the middle. I'm gonna go in the middle and go for Queen's Park.
Queen's Park.
I will allow that. I will allow that answer.
Reece, are you going to Livingston or St Johnstone?
I think Doug knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, Livingston.
Livingston because I live 10 minutes from the stadium.
Connor, are you going to Hibernian or Aberdeen?
Ooh.
Well, I'm already at Celtic, so that's
That's an easy one there.
We're going to Celtic Park. Okay, and then my last question then would be for Richard. Would you go to Motherwell or Ross County?
No idea. Motherwell, but I've no idea.
He's going to go to Motherwell just because they sound like a cool name. But that's the Scottish Premier League done. But we've got 3 more leagues to come. We've got La Liga, the Bundesliga, and Seria A. Everybody that Serie A music should be shot. The La Liga and Bundesliga is so good. That rubbish of Serie A. But
Sounded like I was at an opera there. Jesus.
I think they're still living in the era of Pavarotti. They've not got away from it yet.
Right, so we've got 3 leagues to go about, and a lot of games to talk about. So we're going to start off with La Liga. Also, we'll start with the Madrid Derby, which ended 1-1. Karim Benzema getting the equaliser in the 87th minute. Atletico Madrid, Doug, are starting the bottom of the league, and they are currently only 3 points ahead of Barcelona. Though they do still have a game in hand, but even as proven against Chelsea, Atletico Madrid are starting to slip really slowly and carefully, and they could end up bottom of this league.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry for Atletico Madrid. They were absolutely cruising, and I think they've kind of taken their. Well, I think it's a bit likely to say that they've taken their foot off the gas. They've completely collapsed. But what I will say, I believe that was Real Madrid's. I don't think Zidane's ever lost at the Wanda Metropolitano. I think he's managed to turn a deficit of like 1-0 and managed to get like a draw. Or a win, I think, at the Wanda Metropolitano. So, but look, Real Madrid have been inconsistent this season. Barcelona, we all know about Barcelona's struggles. Yes, they may have had Laporta as new president, so it remains to be seen what will be done with Mr. Koeman. But yeah, I do worry for Atletico Madrid. I really do.
Nathan, to point out, Barcelona only set 3 points behind Atletico with a game. Atletico have a game in hand. As Doug said, they now have a new president. If Barcelona win this league, it will just show how bad La Liga has been this year. A very similar result.
Yeah, 100%. But then again, Atleti just need to keep on going and going because they've done so well to do what they did at the start of the season and sort of retain there. But I don't know, Barcelona, 5 wins in 6 so far. Looking like they can do something. But I don't know, Atleti cannot go complacent. Same with Real Madrid chasing them down. The title race is not over yet. It's going to go down to the last day. But if Atleti are going to win the league this season, or if Atleti are going to win the league in the next 5 years, and I say this all the time, this is the year that they have to do it. And I got a feeling it's going to happen, you know? Like, I think Barcelona, if they get one injury, then they're going to go. Same with Real Madrid, if they get too complacent as well. You got Europe coming up as well, even though Barcelona looks to be out of it. But then again, Barcelona will just keep pushing and pushing. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting running.
That is mission impossible, Nathan. They are never coming back against PSG. They may have done it once, but there is no way they're coming back this time.
Absolutely.
Richard, obviously, when Jose got sacked, Diego Simeone was obviously very heavily linked to Manchester United. Be truly honest, could you watch his style of football week in, week out? The 4-4-2, low block, no intent to play football, or just hope for a lucky goal?
I mean, like watch Burnley. Just hope
But you don't have to watch Burnley. You have to watch Diego Simeone.
No, I think no, you want to attacking football. And that's okay. Manchester United, people criticising them one things, but the football's getting better. You don't want to go backwards. Watch Van Gaal playing sideways football. That's boring. No, I'd rather at least be watchable. If we're not going to win something, at least be watchable. And if we do win things, winning things with more attacking football is a lot better to watch than grinding out Mourinho sort of wins.
Do you think they'll go with bottom league again? 3 points clear with a game in hand, or do you think they'll stay in through? And also, how do you think the second leg against us, Chelsea's going to go next week?
I'm hoping they beat Chelsea, obviously, but I don't know. I was disappointed actually in the first leg. I thought they'd give Chelsea a much harder game, and I was surprised that Chelsea did that well. But I don't know, if they do get knocked out, maybe this will be their year for La Liga. They can focus on the league. But I don't know, it's going to be tough against Chelsea. I think that Chelsea will probably sneak through. I think it'll be close. But maybe they'll be happy with it. If they can win La Liga, that'd be fantastic for the team. And I'd like to see that actually. I don't want to see Barcelona getting it.
How's your La Liga nods, Colin?
Decent. I would say.
Okay, well, the top four is obviously Real Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Sevilla. Real Sociedad, who started off the league really, really well, are currently only 3 points behind Sevilla. Real Betis are quite a distant off, they're 9 points off. So who do you think's going to nick that fourth spot between Sevilla, Sociedad, and Real Betis? Or do you think Unai Emery can slip in somehow?
Good evening. No. I think the top four will stay as it is. I think even though Atletico are at the minute trying to bottle the league title, I think they'll win it because, like other people have said, if Real Madrid for me are too inconsistent this season, and Zidane, realistically, he'll just want to win the Champions League. But are they going to win the Champions League? Most likely not. And then I'd say Barcelona are probably Atletico's bigger threats. And I agree. It's between Sevilla and Real Sociedad, because they had such a brilliant start to the season. I thought they would, oppose more of a challenge against Manchester United in the Europa League, and then United just thrashed them and completely destroy them. So, I think Sevilla will keep I think Lopetegui's done a fantastic job since coming in from Real Madrid, and all the good things that he's done there. I think he's done fantastic, and the thing is, I want someone rather than someone rather than Barcelona and Real Madrid to actually win a title, because it is a two-horse race most of the time, and it's nice now that it is Atletico. Even though I despise Atletico from what they did to us last year in the Champions League, I still would much prefer them to win the title over the other two.
I'll ask you the same question I asked Richard. Could you watch Simeone's football week in, week out at Liverpool?
No. No.
Oh God, no.
Absolutely not. I don't want to watch a gourmet Burnley play like week in, week out. Get in the bin.
One thing I will say, I think Villarreal are favourites for the Europa League. One reason, Unai Emery.
Good evening.
Unai Emery has won that trophy so many times, but yeah, I suppose it'll be a good evening. Sideshow Bob, tactics. But yeah, I think Villarreal are definitely favourites for the Europa League.
I legitimately remember what Unai Emery said when he first joined Arsenal. I would rather win 7-6 than 1-0. Reece, I personally think Real Madrid, along with Celtic in the England job, is probably one of the top 3 most toxic and hardest jobs to take. Lopetegui went there. He's a great manager. Did incredible things with Spain. Did incredible things with Sevilla. Went there and struggled. They brought in the reserve manager. He did shockingly bad. He got outplayed by Ash at home. Zidane has came back and he has seriously struggled. So Real Madrid is a horrible place to go to. They don't have much money because they've upgraded the stadium. So they haven't got much money in the club. They have a lot of rebuilding to do, an aging squad. There's a lot of things going wrong with Real Madrid.
Yep. To be honest, I'll say I generally think the Man United job is one of them, like in terms of toxic, because of the pressure you get and also the ridicule you get from fans. That's one of them as well. What I will say is, yes, Real Madrid is a toxic environment at the moment. The club needs to rebuild. They've still got some good players. It's just there's certain players that they should be playing, like the likes of Odegaard. I don't know why he wasn't getting a game. Valverde needs a game. Eder Militao should be playing more. Like there's serious players that were being overlooked. Yeah, it was actually quite funny. Real Madrid they've got some very exciting players, but it's just that old guard, constant relying on the old guard, where it's came back to haunt them. They've not prepared properly in terms of retaining the title, because they went on. I think the only reason they won the league is the same way that Leeds got promoted. COVID. I don't think if COVID had got involved, I don't think Real Madrid would have won the league. Because they won every single game when they came back from Project Restart. I think they only drew one game, but they won everything else. But that says it all. Like it benefited them a lot.
Reece.
There is a lot there to do.
Reece, I have to tell you, dog mate, what are you doing?
Fuck knows. This is too funny.
Right, Reece, go on.
Yeah, it does say all. Really, there's so much there's so many there's so many problems at Real Madrid, frankly, that you could put up an orchestra and just sing the death of Zidane's managerial career. Like you could play the violins to him at the end of the season, because I think he's going. I think he's getting sacked at the end of the season. I also agree with Richard and Connor. I couldn't cope. I respect Simeone as a manager, but there are times where he's extremely defensive, and I could not cope with that. I've already seen it with Mourinho and Van Gaal when they did win trophies, but it was still extremely boring to watch. If he had been a bit more expansive, then yes, I would welcome something like that in the future, further down the line, not right now. But Real Madrid, they need to spend. In fact, they need to spend. They need to sell before they can, because there's new transfer laws in La Liga as well. I think Barcelona or Atletico Madrid are going to win the league. I think I've always said on this show that I respect Koeman as a manager. Like I respect him, even if he isn't good enough to some people. I respect him as a manager. If he wins something, fair play to him, but also I'm also inclined, he did make some decisions at the start of the season that were quite sceptical, like his attitude towards certain experienced players, where he completely cast them aside as wrong. Like Vidal, Suarez, Vidal. Obviously, I hate Suarez, but even so, I don't believe you should treat a player like that in any form. But hey ho, how it goes. I don't care who wins La Liga. I really don't care. Just I want it to be an exciting end to the season. I want it to be exciting. I want the best team to win. I want the team that deserves it the most to win it. If it ends up being Barcelona or Real Madrid because they've turned over Atletico, then fair play. But I think Atletico Madrid have been at the top for, I can't remember how long, but it's pretty much near enough the whole season. They have dominated the league. They do deserve it in my eyes, so they should win it. I agree with Nathan's sentiment that now's the time, because if fans are back next season in any capacity, that's advantage Barcelona, that's advantage Real Madrid, because they thrive off their fan bases. Atletico Madrid, they thrive on their defence, their strong core at the back. So anything can happen. Now's definitely the time for Simeone to finally say, you know what, fuck it, I'm taking the title.
Doug, who's going down in La Liga?
Jesus. That's a tricky one. Who's currently bottom?
Huesca.
Huesca. Yeah, I think Huesca. I can't even speak. Huesca.
Every time you say their name, I feel like every time you say their name, I just want to go and get a whisper.
Crikey, Cadiz. Like, I actually remember Cadiz were actually, doing very, very well, but they've kind of dropped off very, very badly. I think it'll be the three that are in there right now that will go down.
Yeah, I agree.
Reece, not Reece, Nathan. Valencia, who is quite a big club in Spain, they've got an absolute beautiful stadium, and they're 12th. High.
Very poor. I mean, they're actually only 6 points off the drop, which is saying something. They're in inconsistent form.
They have one of the worst owners in world football. Their owner is
absolutely
disgrace to owners. He makes the Glazers look good.
And they have Javi Gracia as manager.
Who?
Javi Gracia.
Don't you remember Javi Gracia?
I don't remember him now.
Watford manager who got into the FA Cup final.
Oh, him? Oh, he's manager now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's manager. But something needs to happen there. I mean, looking at other teams around them, Getafe really stick out to me. They have been on extremely poor form. But if I'm gonna pick who's gonna go down, I'm probably gonna go Huesca, Eibar, and Getafe.
You think Elche will stay up?
I think Elche will stay up. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the Bundesliga, which is obviously going to maybe make Reece a bit happier. Obviously, right. So I'll start off with you. Obviously, the derby. That's obviously we will start with the derby. Haaland obviously scored 2 goals for Borussia Dortmund in the first 10 minutes, and then Dortmund decided to actually get out of bed and then completely destroyed Dortmund from there. Doug's froze again.
We'll go with Richard.
What I will say about that game, how you can go into a 2-0 lead and then completely implode is ridiculous. But this is the Borussia Dortmund of this season. So inconsistent. So poor. Like, they are never going to win a Bundesliga. Like, if they keep playing like they have been recently, they could easily finish outside the top 10. They are that inconsistent. It is really worrying.
Richard, name the worst defence in European football than Dortmund.
Worst defence? Probably Sheffield United. I don't really follow the Bundesliga, so I wouldn't
Barcelona.
really know. Apart from the top 2 teams, the top few
Actually,
teams.
I'd say Leeds.
Actually, Leeds don't defend, do they? They don't defend at all. So,
well, they're shit anyway.
They're 2-0 down to West Ham at the moment.
Craig Dawson, imagine conceding to Craig Dawson, though.
That's not too bad.
Not too bad, but it could be doing better.
Doug, where do you see Borussia Dortmund being able to find success? They're out of I think they're out of the Portugal, if my memory serves me right, or
no, they got through. Basically, I can't remember who they're playing, but apparently that team that played the Bayern Munich out, Holsten Kiel, they're in the semi-finals.
Wow. That's incredible. So Dortmund are obviously 3-2 up against Sevilla with 3 away goals. They're still in the Portugal, and they're still fighting for top 4. So they still have stuff they could win this season. Do you see them winning any of them? And where do you see them being next season? With Sancho and Haaland and Royce are all out the window. With Marco Royce coming in.
No. They're not winning anything this season. I'm sorry, they're not. I think I said to Reece, and I think I said to Richard, that I think Leipzig are going to win the league. And the reason is because the way that they've been playing this season, like Bayern Munich are so inconsistent, they're inconsistent as well. But that game at the start of April is going to be so interesting for sure. Leipzig Bayern, that is going to be such a huge game. If Leipzig win that, then you would probably see them going on to win the league.
Reece, what do you think? Obviously, you're a Leipzig fan. Do you think you're Bayern edging it?
I think it's going to be a 1-0 Leipzig win at the beginning of April. To be honest, I think Leipzig are going to edge Bayern Munich. What I will say is I can't count Bayern Munich out. They've scored 106 goals in all competitions this season, only ahead of Tottenham, who are second. Tottenham have scored 100 goals in all competitions this season, Bayern Munich 106. So it says it all in terms of ruthlessness, but they're both inconsistent teams. Bayern have got the quality. There's no denying that. Bayern could easily go on and win the double if they wanted to, because they're already out. They're out the DFB Pokal, so they're not even going to get the treble again. There's a chance they could win the double. I don't think they're going to win the league. I think they're going to win the Champions League. I think they're going to. I think they'll retain the Champions League, but they're not going to win the league. And also, back to Dortmund, I think Dortmund are going to go through against Sevilla. I think they're going to get eliminated at the quarterfinals. They're going to get to the final of the Cup, the DFB Pokal. But next summer, I think they're going to be a lot better under Rose. I don't see Sancho or Haaland leaving in the summer. I think they'll play one season under Marco Rose.
Interesting.
Even with high Champions League.
Interesting.
Nathan, with 14 games left to go, Schalke's the bottom of the league, 11 points away from safety. Are they gone?
Yeah, Schalke are gone. Looking at the other teams there, is it Arminia or whatever?
Arminia Bielefeld.
Exactly that, Doug. Yeah, I think they're gone as well. Mainz, I think they have a shot at staying up. They started to turn it around. Robert Glatzel, I really want you to stay up over there in Mainz. I think they will, but they might have to face a relegation playoff. Other teams in the danger, you could look at Cologne if they can start picking up form, because they have been losing a lot recently as well. But I think Mainz, they're looking up in recent weeks, so I think they'll be okay. Hertha Berlin are looking dodgy, though.
I can tell you, yeah, exactly. Hertha Berlin, I don't think anyone expected them to be to be anywhere near the relegation zone. And just to say, I will be bringing Bundesliga content to the channel from next season. So that's something to look forward to.
Brilliant.
There is one team that, frankly, I think we can all say we should, as a collective, we should all be disgusted with. And it was a regular team. It was always a team that would be in the top 4.
I know who you're thinking of.
Schalke, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, Schalke are a team that, even I'll admit, when I was watching their games, like, they used to be such an entertaining team to watch. Now they've completely faded. I know I don't want them to be at Dortmund next season, but I genuinely think Marco Rose, he's got such a good record, as Borussia mentioned. Gladbach already had a fantastic record at Salzburg as well. He never lost a home game in the Austrian Bundesliga at home. He didn't lose a single game. I think he'll get one season out of Haaland and Sancho just to see what he can do with them. I think that's what they want.
Did you know?
Jesus.
Did you know that Schalke sacked Christian Gross at the weekend?
I did. That's 6 managers now they've sacked since last year, I think.
Unbelievable.
6 managers.
I mean, the first mistake that they had was bringing in David Wagner, I think. That was when they had the downfall of everything.
I think the biggest problem was before Wagner. I think the biggest thing was the whole way they changed their setup.
Yes.
They completely abandoned the whole young. Obviously, they've still got young players, but they abandoned the whole idea of bringing in good quality young players. They abandoned the idea of bringing in shrewd signings that helped the team improve.
Mm-hmm.
Going from a back four to a back three failed them completely.
Yeah, completely.
They're now having to chop and change systems to keep playing the style that they want to do. And as far as I'm concerned, they deserve to get relegated because of it.
Absolutely.
And I hope to see them come back, and I hope to see them improve. But Schalke need at least 2 or 3 years where they need to get back to the Bundesliga straight away. But they need to get in at least the top 8 when they get back, because they need to re-establish themselves, and it's going to take them a long time to do it.
You do work with Schalke in the fact that when you go down, going down is not good, but when you go down with COVID, like, it will be a big ask for Schalke to rebuild and come back up again. They've got a dark future ahead of them. Doug, what were you going to say?
Yeah, one of the teams that has really surprised me this season is Wolfsburg.
Yes.
I remember when Wolfsburg actually won the Bundesliga. This was when they had like Edin Dzeko, like Claudio Pizarro, like players like that. So it's nice to see Wolfsburg. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see Wolfsburg in the top 4.
What about
Frankfurt?
Reece? What about Gladbach? They've dropped down to 10th. Do you think there's been a mistake with Royce taking the Dortmund job halfway through the season and being publicly announced? Do you think that gives the Gladbach players less motivation to play for a man who won't be there next season?
Massively. Considering the fact they had a very strong core team unit, they've got a fantastic group of players. Like Florian Neuhaus is a fantastic midfielder. Thuram, Brie Embolo. For me, the standout is Zakaria as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Like Sommer in goals. Like they've got so many good players, and it's Ginter as well as centre back. He's such a valuable leader. It's definitely went against them, because you saw how, I'm going to use a relevant example in terms of like Mönchengladbach's failure. Man City, when Pellegrini announced when he was moving on to the end of his final season, they completely collapsed. It's the same thing for Mönchengladbach. They're going to have to fight to get into the Europa League spots if they want to even get European football next year. I think they can do it, but it's going to take a massive fight because there aren't a lot of games to go. And what I would say is Rose is a good manager to do it. I wouldn't overlook him. He's the way he plays football, it's high tempo, high pressing, it's expansive, it's entertaining, but it gets results. It just depends on how his team plays. 08-09 Wolfsburg. I feel for Mönchengladbach because I think the game that turned it around for me their season, in terms of us seeing that it was going to come down, it wasn't the Man City game, it was the Leipzig game. They were 2-0 up. They were dominating the game. They had Leipzig pegged back, even though Leipzig played fantastic football. Leipzig couldn't get a sniff. The goal that was offside for me, definitely the correct decision. After that, they went up and Poulsen scored. That was it. After that, I knew Mönchengladbach were going to collapse in their defence. It was horrific.
It's the fact that they won back-to-back games against Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, and everyone was thinking, okay, this is going to be the season that they're actually going to challenge. But yeah, they're just falling away, unfortunately.
I told you.
I would just like to say this.
You they wouldn't.
Go on,
Reece. Go on. I'll go after.
No, I was just gonna say, Doug told me, prior to that game, he's like, "Oh, don't count out Mönchengladbach against Leipzig," and I went, Leipzig will win it, but it'll be close.
All right. Yeah, I've just seen something pop on my phone, and there's been another controversial VAR decision in the Premier League.
Oh,
what happened
God,
this time?
what
Lingard
now?
penalty?
No. Apparently, this was offside.
Oh.
I'm getting sick of the fucking VAR, man.
And the tip of his knee.
So his kneecap is offside.
I think, is that not his toe? Look at his foot. Oh, it is his knee. It's because they're showing the line up from the ground.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness me!
I think that's the
Rafinha
worst
as
one
well.
I've seen. That's shocking.
I'm going to quickly answer the question as well by add744. I'm going to say this in terms of the top four. Bayern and Leipzig are going to swap positions, and that's going to be the exact same top four. The same, the current top four, but top two will switch around.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our final competition, Seria A. Since we last talked about Seria A, quite a lot has actually happened, so it's quite a lot to get through. Starting off, the league has dramatically changed. The top four is currently Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus, and Atalanta. Last time we did talk about Seria A, Juventus were, I think, 9th in the league, I think, if I remember correctly, right? So, Reece, what's happening to AC Milan? Inter Milan are 6 games unbeaten at the moment. AC Milan have dropped off a wee bit. That derby where Inter Milan won was massive. What happened? What's happened?
I think it's just the fact that it's still a young squad. There aren't many winners in that team. The only realistic winner you've got there is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and he can't do everything on his own. But what I will say is, for a young team to be in the top two all season, massive achievement. That's something they definitely deserve. They only dropped the top spot a week before the Milan Derby, so they were consistently at the top of the league near the whole season. So that's something that cannot be overlooked. They are a strong side. We'll see if they can bounce back. What I will say is the fact that Inter Milan are drawing 0-0 with Atalanta as we speak. I think this could be I'm thinking Atalanta could nick it here. I'm hoping they do, because if they do, that's when it'll turn it around. I still think George, that's priceless. What a priceless comment. I still think AC Milan can actually win the league. I think Inter Milan could collapse within the next few weeks. I still think they've got a few tough games to go, but if any team deserves to win it, it's either Milan club. I would prefer AC Milan, obviously, but I'm not going to rule out Inter Milan's chances. They've certainly done better than last year when they completely collapsed when they shouldn't. But that's football. But it's been an interesting season, especially the fact that Pirlo's managed to get them back into the top four. I'll give him credit because they were miles off, but fair play to him as well. And Atalanta, they've been consistently in the top four past couple of years. They deserve another season in the Champions League. They deserve another season. I think the biggest disappointment for me all season has been Napoli. Going on to win the Coppa Italia, but they've been absolutely terrible ever since. It just says all really how much the league can have an impact.
Richard, I don't know how much you know about Serie A as well, but I don't want to leave you out of the conversation. I don't want to completely leave you out of the conversation, but I'm sure you probably know Napoli are quite a big team in Serie A. They've actually got a really good squad. They're currently 6th. I think Gusto has been on the verge of being sacked, isn't he? He's very on the edge of being chucked out the back door. So, are you surprised to see Napoli struggle for top four?
So I don't follow Serie A loads, but they've been in the Champions League a lot recently. They're obviously a good team. It's strange how some teams can fall down the league fairly quickly. Then in terms of Serie A, it's quite nice and refreshing to see a title race instead of Juventus running away with it. So the fact that Reece is thinking Inter going to fall down and you could have a 3-horse race, or is he just responding to?
If you were to support one club, Richard, in Italy besides Juventus, who would you pick?
So if I was to support a team
in Italy, in Serie A, besides Juventus, who would you pick?
Based on, and Reece knows this, based on historical reasons, the AC Milan team of the late 80s, early 90s. And for that reason, I think when Serie A was popular on Channel 4 in the UK, it was one of the biggest leagues in the world then. That AC Milan team, like Maldini, everyone knows the team. So
Galli, Tassotti, Costa Curta, Baresi, Maldini is that legendary back five.
For that reason, I'd always probably support AC Milan. And obviously, they seem to be a team that also didn't do that well domestically, but always turned up in the Champions League. So every 4 or 5 years, they seem to get a Champions League win. So historically in Europe as well. So yeah, definitely. And it's good to see they got a chance this year.
Doug, Conte is really bad in Europe. He lost Europa League to Sevilla 3-2. He didn't even get top 3 in the Champions League group, even with Shakhtar Donetsk. Yet he looks like if things keep going the way they are, he's going to win Serie A. He's a weird manager, isn't he? He's a weird manager. He for a guy who's meant to be tactically great, he can't do it in Europe, but he always seems to be able to do it in the league, as he did with Chelsea and Inter Milan, but he can't do it in the Champions League or even Europa League.
Yeah, it's a very weird one, considering that, like, you know, Inter Milan are doing extremely well in, you know, Serie A, but the thing he's done really well with, I think, is, and I think Reece and Richard will probably agree with me, the amount of, like, Manchester United rejects that have actually joined Inter Milan have actually, you know, turned into very good players, like Ashley Young, Alexis Sanchez, Matteo Darmian. To be fair, you know, they've been playing really, really well. So, look, you know,
and Lukaku.
Credit Lukaku is there. Yeah, credit where credit due. I think Inter Milan are likely to probably win. It's probably going to be one of the Milan clubs. I think Juventus have kind of left themselves a little bit too much to do, in all honesty. But like, I suppose it depends on like how many games are in Serie A, because I know that there are 33 in the Bundesliga. I think, if I'm right in saying
34 in the Bundesliga.
34. Sorry, I knew it was
one in Serie A. Serie A, it's 36 games, I think. 36 games.
Nathan, I'll go with Nathan, and then Reece, the same question goes directly to you. Are you extremely surprised to see Napoli and Lazio sit 6th and 7th in the league for the squads and managers that they have? Like, I just feel it's like massive underachievement.
I'd say Napoli have, yes, definitely, but Lazio, I think they've been struggling for a few years now. Even with the squad they have, they're particularly good going back over the last few years as well. Like, yes, they got Immobile and stuff going forward, but they have no reinforcements apart from the likes of Milinkovic, Savic and stuff. But Napoli should be doing so much better.
Reece, what do you think?
To be honest, I'm a little bit surprised. In fact, I wouldn't even say surprised. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in both teams because they've got good squads. Frankly, they should be top 4 contenders, or even fighting for the league, because they've got good enough players to do it. We've been saying it for so long. Like, Napoli should be the team. I think so many people have been saying it for years, that Napoli should be the team to take the title off Juventus, because they were top 2 for like vast majority of the years since that domination began. I think like 4 or 5 of that. What?
Breaking news: Aberdeen have sacked Derek McInnes.
Oh, there we go. That message we were talking about him.
It has just been announced Aberdeen have sacked Derek McInnes.
There he goes.
I did not.
That's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I did not see that coming. Well, I did tell you, he's not a good man.
I think it's ridiculous to do it right now. Anyway, where was I? So Napoli, yeah, like I'm surprised they've not won a league title by now, because they've had one of the best squad rosters like the past. Knew that was coming. They've got, in terms of like their depth and their squad, they're absolutely brilliant. They should be winning more than what they've done. Like, yeah, they've won a couple of Coppa Italias, they've picked up a Super Coppa as well, but they should be picking something up, even like a European trophy. Like, they could have won like a Europa League a few years ago. Like, they've got it in them to do it. They're just not consistent enough. Lazio as well, they've got a very young manager in Simeone Inzaghi. Like, he's done really well with the likes of Ciro Immobile. He's turned him into an absolute goal machine. Milinkovic Savic has been phenomenal for him as a box-to-box midfielder. It just depends on where they go. At the start of the season, I had Lazio and Napoli to finish 4th and 5th.
Who saw Granada beating Napoli over 2 legs in that Europa League?
I did not.
No,
I don't think anyone did.
So to basically, if anybody in the chat has any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any questions about anything possible, I'm going to do my usual, ask a very difficult question to everyone. I do this every time I host, and it's always difficult. So Richard, Ashley Young or Darmian, who are you bringing back to United?
Wow. It's only one choice.
So now I'd probably bring back Young.
Good decision.
What's wrong with Darmian?
What has he done?
Shit.
Everything.
I was thinking, at least I can remember good things that Ashley Young did.
Well, the only good things I can remember is he was in the Europa League squad, the FA Cup. He won us a league title, and he nearly killed Angel Di Maria.
I think he scored a pretty good goal against Arsenal when we thrashed them 8-2.
Yeah, he scored twice that day from outside the box.
Nice goal against Watford, top corner.
Yeah.
Darmian, what did he do? He was crap, wasn't he?
He didn't do anything, effectively, pretty much. He didn't do anything.
Reece, would you watch Diego Simeone's football for 10 years in a row, or have Phil Jones start every single league game on centre back?
Ask that question again.
Would you watch Simeone's football for 10 years straight, or have Phil Jones start every single league game for the next 10 years?
Right. Oh, fuck.
Well, Phil Jones has to be wheeled onto the pitch.
That's right, yeah.
Pegged into position or something.
Wow, that's what a way to kick a guy below the belt. Right, okay. I like Simeone as a manager, but I don't know. Like Phil Jones, like I don't even couldn't even play a full season, let alone 5 games in a row. I would take the Simeone, because Simeone can actually win a trophy.
Oh dear, Nathan. Would you rather bring Harris back as manager, or would you put your dad in charge?
I'd bring back Harris as manager because I thought he did okay.
What's wrong with
I thought he was fairly decent as manager, so I didn't want him sacked.
It's like the fact you just grabbed your dad off straight away. That was brilliant.
Clip this, guys. Somebody in the chat, clip this. Nathan would rather have Harris over his dad.
Nothing going against my dad, but to be fair, I said I wanted Harris till the end of the season, and I thought after last year he did quite a good job. Looking back in hindsight now, great decision, but either way, I'd still take him.
Doug. Right. Okay, here we go. Would you... Right, okay, Doug. Right, okay. Would you either have Lovren as centre-back over Van Dijk for the rest of Liverpool's career, or would you stick Andy Carroll back up front?
And that was really the first moment that the penny dropped, that this wasn't... It needed me up until then,
It'd have to be Andy Carroll. I'm sorry. Dejan Lovren is a bomb scarer of a defender, and I think Andy Carroll would work well with Mane and Salah. So I'm going to say Andy Carroll.
How would Andy Carroll work? I mean, he never he didn't even play a full season.
He's lazy.
Let alone half a season.
Lazy as anything.
I'll ask one more to everyone because everyone seems to
here we go.
Richard, Richard, I'm going to go a step further. Okay.
Oh no.
I'm going to make this even tougher. Would you bring Louis van Gaal back or have me as your manager?
Oh, right. Okay.
Louis van Gaal did at least win things, which is a positive. Louis van Gaal, just get a trophy.
Rip Josh.
What about winning?
Oh Lord. Okay. I swear to God.
Yeah, Josh trying to do a start. Josh, definitely.
No, we're not selling Dean Henderson. No, not a chance. No way are we selling Dean Henderson. No.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, Reece. I got a perfect one for you. Lee Grant in goal or Sean Dyche is your manager?
Please.
I fucking hate you. Oh, so you want me to just choose between a guy that has managed Burnley for so long that frankly they should get relegated anyway because they're shit, or somebody who should never have been signed in the first place. What the fuck? All right, okay.
How long is he in goal for?
How long does Lee Grant have to be in goal for?
Until he retires.
Well, he could retire next week. So okay, Lee Grant in goals.
Retire him.
That was horrible. I hate you for that.
Nathan. Right, are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Right. You either had to if Swansea won the league, you would have to go on the pitch and give them a guard of honour and shake all their hands. Or you have to delete your YouTube channel.
That's an easy one. Delete my channel because I can make a new one.
But you lose all your subscribers, all your followers.
Yeah, that's fine. I only have 900 of them.
Half of them watch this show.
Oh, you would seriously not give Swansea a guard of honour?
No, never.
Fair play him, because I would never do that for Celtic or Liverpool.
Absolutely
I would never give them a guard of honour.
I mean, what people don't realise is that the South Wales derby is literally like the Old Firm, but just on a slightly smaller scale, let's just say. But the hatred is there.
Do you think Celtic will give Rangers a guard of honour on the weekend?
Not a chance. That is not going to happen.
I mean, who in their right mind would give a guard of honour to their... Right, it's just ridiculous. I mean,
Man City done it and Bernardo Silva told them, but that was genius.
Can we have another hour? Right, Doug.
Sadly, we can't.
Doug. Let's see. So. I can't. Jesus. That's a voice crack right there. Right, Doug. Okay. Doug. All right. So, would you rather stay in lockdown for a whole another year, or watch Livingston get relegated?
Ouch. I would take the lockdown.
Well, first of all, can I just say that I hate you? Secondly, I've seen Livingston be relegated a couple of times, so I would have to take the lockdown.
You have to take the lockdown.
Just remember the last time Livingston got fucking relegated. They were down for quite a number of years. So.
Do you want one more round then?
Josh, I have one question for you before we have our one round. Right.
You may as well.
Okay then. Would you rather, as Chelsea manager, have Neil Harris or Neil Warnock in charge for 5 years without being allowed to sack him?
That is really difficult.
No, it ain't. That's easy.
I would go with Neil Warnock. Yeah, I'll go with Neil Warnock. I would love him as manager. I would love him. What? I'll go with Neil Warnock. Yeah. Doug, here's one for you from Chantal. Would you rather watch Manchester United win the Premier League every season for the rest of your life, or see Liverpool get relegated all the way to non-league?
And they can't be promoted either. I'm going to add that to the question. Liverpool cannot achieve promotion after that. Just relegations.
Well, to be honest, I absolutely hate Manchester United, but in my honest opinion, I respect the rivalry between the two sides. I respect the history between the two sides. The fact that I'm being basically asked the question, would I rather watch Man United win the Premier League every season for the rest of your life, is better than seeing Liverpool get relegated. Let's put it that way. So it would have to be Manchester United win the Premier League every season for the rest of my life, because I absolutely despise Manchester City.
Richard, you're going to get another football one. Would you rather take an ice bath for 3 minutes or stand on Lego?
Oh, what?
Would you rather take an ice bath for 3 minutes or stand on Lego for 5 minutes?
After your marriage, the couple started offering that kind of.
I know which one I'm going for.
Me too.
Maybe the ice.
Yeah, I would take the ice bath.
I've never stood on Lego, so I don't know how sore it is, but apparently it's...
You don't want to.
I've stood on Lego. Hurts like hell. It's horrible. I would take the ice bath because it's only 3 minutes.
Okay. Reece.
Yes, sir.
Reece. Bruno Fernandes gets injured for the next 3 seasons, or Nagelsmann goes to Liverpool.
That's the best one yet.
Ow! Either get rid of your only creative threat, or your favourite manager goes to your biggest rival.
Oh God.
George, with a scientific fact that high sauce is supposed to be good for your health.
Oh God, no. That's. Oh.
You can't lose Bruno.
You know what? I would have to agree with Hill and George. It would hurt watching Nagelsmann go to Liverpool, but to lose Bruno Fernandes to injury, who knows what would happen to Man United. So I would rather see my favourite manager still be in the Premier League, but hopefully gets fucked up by Liverpool and then he leaves them and goes back to Germany as a happy man, than watch the best player of Man United get relegated for 3 years and then fuck knows what happened. So I would take Nagelsmann to Liverpool. I hate you.
What we'll do, Reece, Nathan, is I'll ask you then the same question that Doug would ask. Would you rather watch Swansea win the league every single season, or Cardiff get relegated to non-league?
I mean, Cardiff get relegated to non-league.
Wow.
He's just
no question about it.
And Doug, you get the last one. I'll save a very good one for you. All right.
Doug looks like he's ready to pull a gun and shoot you if you ask him about it.
Klopp gets sacked and Neil Lennon takes over. Or okay. I don't want to say this.
I don't give a shit. Go for it.
Right. Klopp gets sacked and Neil Lennon takes over. Or you have to watch Everton lift the league and win it at Anfield.
Oh no. Oh fuck me.
Well, put it this way: Arsenal have won the league. Arsenal have won the league at Anfield before. There is no way I would like to watch Neil Lennon manage Liverpool. So, by process of elimination, it would have to be Everton winning the league at Anfield.
Oh, and that must have hurt to say.
And yes, Ballon, we already know about that in the kind of.
So that ends the podcast on a very, very, very funny and exciting note. So unfortunately we were missing 2 guest stars. So I want to say a big thank you to Connor and Anthony. Anthony had internet problems. Connor was here for most of it, and then internet problems. Obviously internet's just not very good down in Wales. I think Nathan knows that very well.
It's absolutely terrible.
But Richard,
sorry, it's also bad in Scotland as well.
Richard, thank you for coming on. Obviously, we kind of threw you a bit of unexpected questions with some other leagues. So you did your best to answer them, which I respect. But thank you very much for coming on anyway.
No, thanks for having me on.
Reece. Reece is now very common on Twitch. It's Reece_Lightning something.
1997.
1997. He's near enough live every day. He was live for 6 hours straight on Saturday, I think, or something.
6.5 hours on Sunday. 6 hours last night. 6 hours 29 minutes last night.
I don't know. I don't know if he will be live again tonight or not. But if he is, then he will be live. But make sure to give him a follow.
I might do Football Manager tonight.
Thank you,
Nathan, obviously me and you're doing our football manager series. We don't know when's our next game going to be. You know, go ahead, tell.
I'll probably end up messaging you, but I think we might do one in the week, and then it'll have to be one on the weekend because I'm streaming on Saturday. So
there we go then. So one
apart from
week.
that, have a look at my socials in the description and next week's podcast, and make sure you're there. It is going to be very feisty, I reckon.
So me and Nathan will have our football manager head-to-head once in a week, and then probably Saturday and Sunday night. I think that seems to be.
I think it'll be just Sunday at the moment.
Just Sunday.
Yep. And guys as well, Richard goes live in less than an hour's time. He goes live on his own channel, quarter past 10. Subscribe to Rich Sports 7 or Rich Sports on YouTube. You can follow his socials as well on Twitter. Must watch channel. He's
I've got the same Man City fan on tonight as well.
Charlie.
So
fair play to him for coming on. Fair play to him for coming on last night. Fair play to him.
Yeah,
give it a watch. Oh yeah, he's so funny. He's so funny.
And then we leave the best for last. Doug, are you working tomorrow? Is that what your plans for tomorrow?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be working tomorrow. But just thank you, everyone. Actually, I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who obviously reached out to me over the past couple of days. I got some horrible news the other night. I was very, very tempted to deactivate my Twitter.
You know, the worst thing is you got all the heat, right? But I don't even know why me or Josh got none of it, because I'm the one that said put him in the poor category.
Right.
It should be me getting the hate, not you. It should be me.
I just did the unanimous decision, really. But look.
What was this about?
We did a tier list show on Friday, and we categorised Bernd Leno as a poor goalkeeper. And it all kicked off. It was literally banter, but apparently banter is literally to them non-existent. I know a lot of good Arsenal fans, like they knew it was banter, but the rest of it just kicked off. That's all it was. It was literally, it's just an opinion. We're not going to. None of us actually think he's a shit goalkeeper.
I said that about the kind of all 11. You put it out on Twitter. I said it'll be like 5 seconds, but someone disagrees with it. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got all sorts of things being thrown at me as called deluded Liverpool fan, which I found absolutely amazing because I'm probably one of the most level-headed fans you can get out there. So,
absolutely.
One big announcement to make on that note: on the 22nd, which is a Monday, is the start of the international break. So we will not be doing a regular topic podcast. We'll be doing our second tier list, which is going to be on left backs in the Premier League. So that will be something to keep your eyes out for, because this international break is useless, nothing to talk about. And there will also be, me and Doug still have to discuss this, but there will more than likely be a week in April where there will be no podcast, so we can all take a break and relax. So now just to make sure everyone's batteries are refreshed.
Yeah, I'll message you about that, Josh, if that's okay.
I think there's one date that we shouldn't overlook, but that's just a suggestion. There's one date we shouldn't overlook, but hey ho.
But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Monday evening and enjoy the rest of your week. I will be back on the channel this time Monday at 7 p.m. Doug will keep uploading and keep an eye on me and Nathan's socials for our series. Go make sure. None of you go to Rich's stream after this. We're going to fall out. And Reece. Everyone go out and unfollow Reece on Twitch. That's the right thing to do.
Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Chanel.
I'll put that comment up to make sure that is.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Definitely make sure that's read to everyone. But ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week. I'm going to go to bed. Au revoir.